송텐 하루 일과 녹음해 볼게요. I get up at 6 o'clock. I open my eyes. I stretch out. I get out of my bed. I put on my socks. I get out of my room. I go to the toilet. I open the toilet. I go into the toilet. I do my business. I flush the water. I get out of my toilet. I go to the kitchen. I open the refrigerator. I take out some milk. Take out my bread. I make my breakfast. I have my breakfast. I go outside. I pick up my uniform. I take off my pants. I take off my shirts. I put on my uniforms. I go back to my kitchen. I open my lunchbox. I put some rice in there. I put some sauce in there. I close my lunchbox. I put my lunchbox in my bag. I pick up my bag. I go to my bicycle. I pick up my helmet. I put on my helmet. I ride my bike. I go to the factory. I park my bike in front of the office. I open the door. I get into the office. I say hello to my coworkers. I go to the clock machine. I do clocking. I go back to my bicycle. I ride my bicycle. I go to the factory. I park my bike in the factories. I take off my helmet. I put my helmet on my bicycle. I go to the smoke room. I take off my shoes. I put on my steel-toe boots. I take out my lunchbox. I put my lunchbox on my table. I go to my position. I meet my friends. I say hello to my friends. I wait for my work. I meet my supervisor. I receive the cutting list. I go to the saw. I go to the rack. I check the materials. I check the materials. I put my materials to the saw. I put the materials under the saw, and I check the materials. I check the materials condition. I use the tissues. I wipe the materials. I check the scratches, and I do marking and I do taping. I turn on the saw. I use the saw. I cut the materials. I put my materials to the trolley. I do keep going again and again. I listen to the siren. I check the time. I go to the smoke room. I sit down at the table. I prepare my brunch. I take out my bowl. I put my instant noodle in there. I put some hot water in there. I use the microwave. I make my brunch. I have my brunch. I close my eyes. I take a nap. I open my eyes. I wake up. I go to the office. I sit down on the floor. I listen to my boss's opinions. I have my meeting. I go back to my position. I put on my safety glasses. I put on my gloves. I put on my ear protection. I prepare the cutting. I check the materials. I check the materials condition. I check the scratches. I use the tissues. I wipe the materials. I do marking. I do taping. I turn on the saw. I use the saw. I cut the materials. I check the cutting list. I put my materials to my trolleys. I do keep going. I check the time. It's my lunch time. I go to my smoke room. I sit down on the table. I take out my lunch box. I put some tunas in there. I make my lunch. I have my lunch. I close my eyes. I take a nap. I open my eyes. I wake up. I check the time. I drink some water. I go back to my position, and I work again and again and again. I check the time. I turn up the saw. I clean on the floor. I use the mop. I mop the floor. I use the airbrush. I clean all of that. I take off my safety glasses. I take off my ear protection. I take off my gloves. I put them all on my table. I go back to my smoke room. I take off my steel-toe boots. I put on my shoes. I pick up my lunchbox. I put my lunchbox in my bag. I pick up my bag. I say goodbye to my friends. I go to my bicycle. I ride my bicycle. I go to the office. I park my bicycle in front of the office. I open the door. I get into the toilet. I say goodbye to my coworkers. I go to the clock machine. I do clock out. I go back to my bicycle. I ride my bicycle. I go to my share house. I park my bicycle at the courtyard. I change my uniforms. I put on my slippers. I put on my shoe. I put on my pants. I put on my shirt. I go to shower room. I take off my shirts. I take off my pants. I go into the shower booth, I turn on the water, I wash my hands, I wash my hair, I take a shower, I turn up the water, I check myself at the mirror, I dry myself with a towel. I go back to my kitchen, I open the refrigerator, I take out some vegetables, I make my dinners, I have my dinners. I do wash the dishes, I go back to my room, I sit down on my bed, I turn on my computer, I log on my I log on my I log on my blog, I log on my Gape. I read some articles, I do posting, and I read some comments. I put my messages under the comments. I turn off the computer, I go to the courtyard, I meet my share mates, I say hello to my share mates, I do talking. I go back to my room, I turn on the computer, I use the web part, I look for some movies, I turn on the com players, I watch the movies, I enjoy the time. I turn off the computer, I pick up my phone, I use the Kakao Talk, I do chatting with my friends, I do recharge my phone, I get out of my room.